Hi, I'm Lou, and today I'm going to show you how to fix a dryer that runs but it won't heat. In tools, we'll need a nut driver or socket set, screwdrivers, and a multimeter. You can get these at the hardware store for about 10 bucks. First, pull your dryer away from the wall and unplug it. Now with your socket or nut driver, take off probably 5 screws to remove this back panel. This is a great time to vacuum out lint that builds up. Back here there are only 5 parts and they're really easy to test. You've got the thermal cutoff, the high limit thermostat, the heater coil, the thermal fuse, and the operating thermostat. This is not really necessary, but if you'd like to learn more about your dryer wiring, there's a diagram on the back that's pretty easy to read. You just look at the labels here on the components and you can find them here. For instance, this is FH3 on this wire, which means it goes FH3, it's a thermal cutoff. Multimeters have amps, volts, and ohms. You want to set it to the ohm setting. You should see an OL on the screen, which means overload, meaning the wires are not connected. So if we take these and touch them together, it should go to 0, and that's what we're going to be using to test. Your meter might have a beeper, which will make it easier to hear if you're touching or not. 4 of our 5 parts should measure 0 resistance or beep when you test them. Let's try the thermal cutoff. You take off the wires, you put your probes across, and you should either read 0 or beep. I got a beep, which is good. So you can put those wires back on. This component is fine. Now let's test the thermal fuse using the same procedure. Pull off the wires, test across the component. And you can see from the screen there, I've got 0 ohms and it's also beeping. Put that back, it's fine. The operating thermostat is a little tricky in that it has 2 sets of wires, but you've got fat ones and little ones. The little ones are a heater for the thermostat. The fat ones are the ones you want, usually end to end. Pull those off and test. We're good. Next we're going to test the heater. If you look, the diagram says it should be between 7.8 and 11.8 ohms. Here's the heater coil wires, by the way. Pull the wires off and measure. Looks like we've got 9.89, which is within the range. It's fine. I saved the high limit thermostat for last because honestly I suspected this guy from the beginning. Look, the wires are kind of smoky burned and also the piece is loose. It shouldn't be like that. So I bet this is the bad guy. And it should have 0 resistance across it. And it's dead. I should get a beep or 0 and I get nothing. So this is my bad guy. So you simply take this out with your ratchet. So the high limit thermostat is our bad component. There is a part number right on the back. You can Google that, or you can Google your make and model of your dryer and appliance parts, and you can pick this up at any number of online stores for probably 10 bucks or less. Put your new part in. Hopefully your wires won't be burned up and you can just hook it back up and you're good to go. I, though, have a burned wire, so from the hardware store you can buy a new end. So I'm going to use a wire cutter to cut off the burn part and then strip, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch off that piece of wire. I just realized I had the wrong connector. Even though the tabs are the same size on these two, this one has a really small hole in the back and the wire won't fit in, whereas this one is a bigger hole in the back and the wire will fit in. Make sure when you go to the hardware store, get the thicker one. Now you just take a pair of pliers and squeeze hard to clamp that wire in to the connector. And it's ready to put on. And there's our dryer running nice and warm. It's a nice warm pair of socks. If you'd like to learn more, I've got labeled pictures of the wiring diagram and the back of the dryer on my website. Thank you for watching and good luck fixing your dryer.